Yes, I believe they can hear us. I went
Okay,
ahead and
good.
started the recording so we can start capturing some of this information.
Great. Thank you, Gil. My name is Teresa Allen, and this is our first webinar on online registration for current students and future siblings using PowerSchool. So this is a new tool that SBTC, the Help Desk, and OCS has been working on for the past several months to just streamline registration, at least for current students and siblings, and just within the PowerSchool functionality. So thank you for joining us. I also have with me, I also have with me on online is Gil Flores, who runs the help desk for us for PowerSchool, and Kurt Lewis, who's Director of Enrollment and Marketing. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Good morning.
Okay, thank you. Just a brief functionality summary of the program. Parents will be able to register their children right through the parent portal, and Gil will also show you both sides. So with the parent side and the admin side, and then the admins will have the chance to look over the parents who have done the registration and verifying that before it actually goes live into the system. So without further ado, we're going to do the demo launch. So go ahead and take control, Gil.
Very good. Thank you. Okay. I'm gonna show you guys the demo of the re-registration portal first, and then I'll go back and do a sibling registration example. So as Teresa had mentioned, this is actually a development for both parents and admins. So I'll show you the parent side of it first. We'll run through how parents will log in and what they'll see when they get into the system, and then we'll go into the administrator side. So after parents have submitted, we'll go to the administrative side and kind of show you how to work with some of these developments within the re-registration. Then we'll do it again with sibling registration. Okay, so to begin with, on screen I have the parent sign-in. This is the normal thing that they see when they want to log in. So I've created a parent account for today's demo that we can log into and see. For those of you not familiar with the parent portal, this is actually what the parent portal looks like. It's got very limited capabilities, not as fully functional as the admin portal. But if you look on the left-hand side, we've got a few things to click on. Re-registration link, which is right below school information, is one of the links that we've recently made active. So what parents will be able to do is click on the re-registration link, and they will be able to re-register information, update student information that you can then verify later as on the admin portal. So the way we did this is we took a lot of information from the student's custom screens. We took all the stuff from student info, and we're allowing parents to go ahead and update it. So I'm going to scroll down through this really quick before we start, just so you can kind of see what other things we have. We have the student information, followed by the parent information, and then we also have emergency information. Okay. Please feel free to keep posting any and all questions that you might have. If you're not sure how to do that, I believe on the upper right-hand side of your screen there's a little orange arrow button. You can click on that and look at the questions. As I go along, feel free to ask any and all questions there, and I'll be happy to answer anything that pops up along the way. All right, as you can see, we've went ahead and put in a little message. Welcome to the re-registration page. The screen will be, you will be able to review the information currently stored in PowerSchool and input information that you'd like to update for PowerSchool. There are 3 columns in the form below. The first is the name of the field. The second is the information currently stored in PowerSchool, and the third is empty for you to update the fields. You only need to input changes to the fields that have changed. If the data in the field has not changed, you can leave it blank. So we added that little disclaimer there because what we want parents to do is just simply update the data um, that has changed for them. So if they've had 2 children enrolled in the school this year, but next year they'll have 3, here they're going to have an option to up that number from 2 to 3, or the vice versa. If it went down, they can bring that number down to 1. Okay, for demo purposes, I'm going to go ahead and just update a few things here. And even though a lot of this stuff is not changing, I do want to go ahead and show you that a lot of this stuff is parent inputs. Okay. And then as you can see, I'm just kind of filling in some stuff here, things that your parents would normally fill in. Okay, I'm going to skip over some stuff here and jump down to some other parts of the registration form. I'm going to just come down to doctor info and show you how we've done that. So we've went ahead and pulled a lot of the emergency info from the custom screens, and as you can see, we have parents. We're giving parents the ability to change their doctor name, their doctor phone number, their dentist name, their dentist phone number, emergency contact info 1, 2, and 3. And then this is the part I really wanted to skip down to. A lot of this other data entry is really useful, but just to kind of get to a little bit more of what we're putting into the re-registration portal, we're going to go ahead and put things like allergies, so parents will be able to indicate to the school, what kind of allergies they have at time of re-registration. So if they can say peanuts and tree nuts, maybe. Special medical consideration, EpiPen, and medical alert. Okay, so a lot of questions come up with what is this medical alert situation? And so one of the things that's a little different between the allergies and special medical considerations as opposed to medical alert is that actually medical alert, when you code that in, when you put something in here, it carries throughout PowerSchool next to the student's name. And so I'll show you what we mean by that in a little bit, but I'm going to go ahead and put in EpiPen Ed. Something to that effect. Okay. So parents will be able to fill this all out for their student that's re-registering at your school. It does give them a little message. Please click the checkbox to confirm that you wish to re-register the student for the upcoming school year. And so we did this so that we don't accidentally have parents clicking submit when they didn't actually finish filling it out. So they'll actually have to put a check in the box, and then the submit button appears. I'll show you that without the checkbox, the submit button does not appear, and with the checkbox, the submit button is there. So we'll go ahead and hit submit. You'll get a very generic message that says your changes have been recorded. And the next time the parent clicks on the re-registration link, you'll be greeted with something to this effect. Um, according to PowerSchool, your re-registration has already been submitted. If you'd like to make changes, we're giving them the ability to click edit and go back into the form and make changes. Okay. Or they get a chance to review. Maybe they're not sure if the data went in properly. But when they're greeted with this message, that means that we have already captured their data in the PowerSchool system, and this is the message that they get. If you have any questions regarding the re-registration, please contact your school administration. So this is what parents will see once their re-registration is completed for their child. Now, in this demo, I'm only demoing one child, but if this parent had two children associated to their account, they'd be able to do this separately with another student as well. All right. So before I jump into the admin portal portion of this, with regards to the re-registration parent side of it, that's what we have for parents. They fill out the form, they hit submit, and that information gets captured and sent over to the admin portal. So before I switch over to the admin portal to show you how to find some of this information, did anybody have any questions on it? Again, to find the little question panel on the upper right-hand side of your screen, it's usually on the upper right-hand side, but you have a little orange rectangle there with the arrow. If you click on that to bring open the control panel, you should also have a questions pane, a questions little panel. You can click on that and go ahead and start typing in your information there. I'll be able to see those questions and can answer them live on our webinar in case I may have missed something or gone over something a little too fast. Okay, I don't have any questions so far, so I'm going to go ahead and jump into the admin portal side of things. Oh, I have one question before I switch. How will the changes made to child number 1 profile transfer immediately to child number 2? That's a really good question, Kasha. The way we currently have it is we have it independent of each other. And so if there was a brother associated here, as a matter of fact, maybe I can do that really quick. Let's see here. So I'm going to go ahead and add another student account to my parent account here. And as you can see, I have 2 students now, each with different information showing up and each with the ability to submit the re-registration process separately. So that's kind of how we've been working with it, Kasha. We've been kind of allowing parents to submit the re-registration for each student separately. I have another question. Does the admin get alert of any changes made to the re-reg? Enza, as it currently stands, we don't have like emails notifications set up for when a parent submits a re-registration, but there is, as you're going to see in a little bit, a way for the admins to look for those parent information, those parent submitted forms, so that you can go ahead and review them and put them back into the PowerSchool system, or update your PowerSchool system, I should say. Another question, can parents edit the info through the year or only at the re-registration time? That's a good question, Kasha. As it currently stands, we're going to allow parents to re-register throughout the year, but that is certainly a good question that we can ask, Teresa Allen and maybe Kurt, if we can, if they would like us to have some re-registration time to make the link available and then turn it off at certain other times. So, but right now it currently just lives throughout the school year. We can, from our end, we can turn it off if we have to, but just know that as it stands throughout the year, parents can re-register at any time. All right. I think I may have answered most of the questions here. Let me go ahead and jump over to the admin portal. I'm going to go ahead and bring up another screen here. Okay. Here's our admin portal. I've already been signed in so we can see some information. And so what we're talking about here is that when you get into the admin portal, we've actually created a field called temp re-registration. Okay. I'll go over that again just in case I went over it too fast. There's a field in our system now called temp re-registration. Okay. And so how this works is the temporary registration page, when parents submit this, it goes from 0 to 1. So like we've done a lot in PowerSchool throughout the year, we got to do a little searching here to find whose parents has submitted the re-registration form. And so the way we did that is we kind of mirrored a lot of the things that already exist in PowerSchool. So we took the name of a field, called it temporary registration, and we did a equals, and then the value when the parent submits is 1. Okay, so when you search for this in PowerSchool, you get back a list of students whose parents have submitted the re-registration form. Okay, in this case, I have 2 students listed when I did this search. And it looks like that search yield one of my test accounts that I've been working with in the past, and then yet the one we're doing today on this webinar. So this Louis Armstrong account looks like the parent has submitted this to be entered into PowerSchool. So to re-register into PowerSchool for the upcoming school year. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on this one student account. This is the first one that I want to approve or audit. And so the way we did that is we went ahead and put the re-registration link into custom screens. Okay. So in custom screens, we have a link now called re-registration. Okay. It's mirrored, it's below all the stuff that you're normally accustomed to. Now we have a link called re-registration there. So here, what we're presented with is something very similar to what the parents saw when they were submitting the data, except we have an extra column, a parent and guardian submission column. So what this means is this is the data that was in PowerSchool before, current PowerSchool data. This is what we currently have. And this is what the parents have submitted from the re-registration form. Now, we also have, so this is actually, the parent submitted data doesn't actually get submitted to PowerSchool and override like the first name, the last name, the date of birth. It doesn't actually do that. What we're actually doing is we're taking what the parents submitted and are holding it in a temporary set of fields that you can edit yourselves or, just simply copy over what they submitted. So the way that works is if I say this is what parents submitted, so now we want to copy that to PowerSchool. We want to hit this copy parent data. And so we created a copy per submission so that you get a chance to review it one at a time. If there's a typo in any of this, you get a chance to correct it. Maybe the parents submitted something that wasn't actually true, so you get a chance to simply not submit that into the PowerSchool system. And so this level of auditing was put into place so that we can only submit data that good data into PowerSchool, basically. And you guys as administrators, we're giving you the power to go ahead and verify that data. Now notice that I didn't fill in at the re-registration portal on the parent side, I didn't fill in these two pieces of information. And so those buttons are actually not, they're kind of grayed out. So you're not actually able to click on them because there's nothing to copy over. Okay, that we built that by design so that we can actually only submit data into PowerSchool that is what the parents want us to update. Okay, if they don't want us to update it, we don't have to copy it. We don't have to copy it over to the right column, and so it won't get updated in PowerSchool. Now, as you guys are seeing, there's a lot of these copy buttons, right? Um, and at times it could seem like that's a lot of buttons to click, but actually what we also did is at the bottom we also have a copy all submitted data. So when you click on that, everything from the parent submitted column gets copied over to the far right column. So these little copy buttons are really nice because you get a chance to audit each piece of information. But then we also have a copy all button if you wanted to just quickly spot check the data, you verified it on the column, and you just go to the bottom and hit the copy all button. It'll just copy everything over. If you see any typos, you get a chance to click into those boxes that you're going to submit and fix those typos as we see. Maybe parents were filling in a little too fast and put in the wrong zip code or, maybe misspelled a word down here in allergies or something like that. Okay. Now, we do have a warning down here, and I do want to point that out. Once the data has been copied over to be entered into PowerSchool, we do have this warning that says once the submit button is clicked, all of the parent submitted data will be cleared and becomes now official PowerSchool data. Okay, so that's actually true. So if you're re-registering your students, by hitting submit on this, you're actually going to be clearing out this third column of information. This third column of information will go away. And all of that information that's on the far right column will actually will update the data in PowerSchool. So maybe keeping in mind when you're actually going through this process is very important because maybe you don't want to override the current data with re-registration data just yet. And so maybe being conscious of when you're actually going to be going through this process is really, really important because once I hit submit here, as you'll see, oh, well, this is a really good functionality to see. We've actually associated this one student account with a bunch of different accounts in our system. So as you can see, the family match or the family links will actually generate an update. So I'm going to go ahead and take those off for now, though. And there you go. Let me go back to the re-registration link so you see what I'm talking about now. Now notice all the parent submitted guardian data is all cleared out. And all of the information that I copied over got moved into PowerSchool. So that number that was 2 now went up to 3. I believe I switched these names around so that we can see that they actually just came over. I switched the date of birth. I believe I switched their address and phone number information on there. So definitely let me know if you have any questions on that. That's kind of the re-registration portal here. We've also, once an administrator has submitted the data, we also have the ability to requery this field. So when you do equals 1 again, now we only have 1 student in that queue. No longer do we have 2 students in that queue, right? Now we only get 1 student when we do temp re-registration equals 1. Okay, that's automatically jumping me to that 1 student record. But when I do temp re-registration 2 equals 2, now we get that account. Okay, now we get that one account that we've audited and submitted into PowerSchool. Okay, I wanted to demo that because, as you can see, we're updating a lot of information at once, and so we're moving the student account from one state, the re-registration state, to approved, which is the 2. Um, so when you do equals 2, that'll get you a list of students who you have approved to be re-registered for the upcoming year. So this little search command will actually show you a group of students that you have audited and moved over to PowerSchool. Now, when you do temporary registration equals 1, these are students that have been submitted by the parents but have yet to be approved by administrators. So temporary registration equals 1, that'll show you that list of kids. And then, of course, temporary registration equals 0. That is the group of students that have parents have not submitted their re-registration data. Okay, so the important numbers to keep in mind is 0 is for parents who have not submitted the re-registration. 1 is for parents who have submitted the re-registration, but still need auditing from the admin side or approving. And 2 is a list of students who you have reviewed and approved to be re-registered for the upcoming school year. So those 3 different search commands will yield different sets of kids here. Any questions so far on that, on the admin side of that? I don't have a great amount of data, students that I've re-registered to kind of show you more than just one student here. But just know that we have coded it so that when you're looking for temporary registration equals 0, these are kids who parents have not submitted their re-registration data. And so this could be a list of kids that you look for and reach out to those parents to see if they will be re-registering for the upcoming school year, and you can show them how to do that through the parent portal. Temporary registration equals 1. These are the kids that parents have actually logged in and submitted the data. Now, this is the group of students that you would want to go into their custom screens, re-registration, and approve some of the data that has come over. Again, be conscious of when you're doing it because depending on when you update their data, it could throw off some of your numbers, for the current year. So I would say, running through the re-registration process a little later in the year will actually be more beneficial than really early through the year, which actually goes back to your question here, a question that was asked, if this portal will be made available throughout the year or just during the re-registration time. As it currently stands, we're leaving it throughout the year because different schools have different re-registration times. I mean, there generally is a good understanding right after Catholic Schools Week, but we kind of left it open for schools to communicate to their parents when, at any time throughout the year to start the re-registration process. And so 1 is those parents that have submitted, and so then 2, temporary registration equals 2. These are the groups of students who, parents have submitted their data, you have looked over that data and approved it into the system, and so these are the groups of kids that you want to keep in mind. This is the group of kids that will be returning for the next school year. Okay, any other questions about that? I know we're kind of running through this a little faster. but I'd like to kind of slow down and answer any questions here on the admin side. I will show you the new sibling registration as well that we've built into the system. But I want to just take a pause here and see if there's any questions before we jump into that. Okay, I'm not getting any questions. Oh, hold on, I do have one. Can parents submit the re-registration data several times throughout a year? Example purpose of updating their contact emergency info. Yes. To answer your question, Kasha, yes. And as a matter of fact, if the parents were to go back, so I'm going to bring this up on the screen. If the parents were to go back and hit edit on their submission stuff and simply update a few things here and hit submit one more time here, what will happen on the admin side is that student will go from temporary registration 2 back to temporary registration 1. Temporary registration, there you go, equals 1. And you'll see that the student account went back to temporary registration status number 1, which is the awaiting approval status. Okay. So temporary registration equals 1. Those are your awaiting approval. And so we see that because the parent went back in and hit submit on the re-registration portal, that student account goes back to the queue of awaiting approval. So you can go back and see what needs to be updated there. So I hope that answers your question, Kasha. It was a really good question. Parents can actually submit multiple times. Okay, very good. So before I switch gears here, I'm actually going to go back to the parent portal and kind of show you guys another little development that we have here in-house. As Teresa Allen mentioned in her slide, we're going to be doing re-registration and new sibling registration. Okay. And so new sibling registration, this is a link that we've created so that parents can actually put in the number of students that they have come enrolling into their school for the coming year. Okay. And so you have so the premise of this is that you have a student account already in your school, but they will have a younger sibling joining your school for the upcoming school year. That's the premise of sibling registration. You have those new pre-K students or those new kindergarten students that are now joining from siblings of that are already in our system. So that's how we're kind of working with this. Okay. And so the way this works is when you click on sibling registration, you get the option of selecting how many siblings you have to register for the upcoming school year. Now we've kind of gone back and forth of how many we should limit this to. So we currently agreed upon 3, but if anyone out there has schools that usually register or register more than 3 siblings in a given school year, please let me know and we'll go ahead and add a number more to that. But the way it currently works is you click on 1, and so you get 1 sibling information to fill in. If you click on 2, you're going to get 2 sibling infos to fill in. And if you click on 3, you're going to get a 3rd sibling info to fill in. So I think we kept it off at 3 since assuming 3 might be a bit much, we left it there. So let me show you how it works when we do 1 sibling. Actually, I'll do 2 siblings for now. So say I have this parent, we'll call this one Mark. Uh, Mark Armstrong was born in 2014. Male, Hispanic. And so notice that we also have a check mark, one for each student. You have to put those check marks. So the parents actually have to put the check marks into that box if you want to submit that sibling information. So I'm just coming up with some student names really quick that we can enter into our system here. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and put a checkbox in the sibling number 2 registration. So what I'm saying here is I'm going to tell my school that there are going to be 2 siblings joining the upcoming school year. Okay, they're associated to my current student in the system, Louis, but alongside he's going to be bringing in a brother named Mark and a sister named Kendra. Okay, so 2 siblings will be joining the upcoming school year. I'm gonna go ahead and hit submit. And this is what it kind of looks like. You're going to get a thank you for submitting the sibling information. Um, and you get just a brief summary of what was entered, and just lets you know that that data has been saved and is ready for admin review. Okay, now can parents click on the sibling registration information one more time? Yes, they certainly can. And as a matter of fact, if you see, that data is still there. So if they made a typo, they can go back in and update the information with those typos that they may have put in, hit submit, and they get a chance to update that data for you on the admin side. So any questions on this sibling registration before I jump into the admin portal? One thing I will say, if you're thinking of questions here to ask, there are some hidden fields that you're not seeing on screen. So we didn't really want to present that to the parents, but just as administrators know, that even though we're just collecting first name, middle name, last name, date of birth, gender, Hispanic or Latino, race, those are not the only bullet points of information that we're collecting. Okay, so since this is a sibling registration portal, these 2 siblings that I'm registering for the upcoming school year are associated to my student Louis Armstrong. And so Louis might have home address, home phone number, mother name, father name. Those are things that are not showing up on the sibling registration portal, but they are actually going to be passed through. And you'll see that on the admin side. They're going to be passed through to the sibling when you register the new siblings into your system. Any questions so far? So there is a little bit more data, and I'll show you that on the admin side that does come over into the new siblings. Usually I say there's no questions and one pops up. So I'm going to go ahead and jump over to the admin portal, but if you have a question, feel free to post it. I'm going to give you guys an opportunity to ask any and all questions at the end in case I missed something or went over something too fast. I can go back and review it. One question did just come in. What about siblings with different fathers or residing at different addresses? Very good question, Kasha. You will actually still get the opportunity to update that information, but I think what we built the system is for the to kind of work with the majority of the families that may not be residing at different addresses or have different fathers. And so for those situations, you will go back into custom screens for those siblings and change those addresses and father names. But the hope was that we can get a lot of um, registration and re-registration, or I should say re-registration and sibling registration updated in the system um, very quickly here. Um, and that's actually a really good point because I'm going to show you guys on the admin side um, when you're putting in a sibling into the system. I want to show you how it actually fires off a lot of the PowerSchool validation things that normally happen when you're entering a new students. You know, things like